Good morning. So we have the holiday behind us and we have an opportunity to capitalize in the market. So I wanted to come with a quick pre-market video so we can check out what's happening pre-market. Seems like there's a lot of action going on, so I'm kind of just scanning around to see what opportunities might present itself. It seems like pre-market, they're having a lot of fun. Bears are having a lot of fun for sure. There is a lot on my watch list that is red. But on Friday, after hours and Saturday, I did a little bit of scanning kind of to see like what's happening in the market. If you were in Discord on Friday, then you know that one of the stocks that we were watching was Baba, and we had over 100% return on Baba. Great trade opportunity post earnings. And I think Baba still has an opportunity to run. Another was let's see, Sharks and QQQ was a good trade as well. And then we also were looking at gold. And we were looking at gold to the upside. That was another successful trade. Maybe I think I closed at 90% on gold. So we'll look at those and we'll look at a few more charts. As you can see, I was looking at SPY pre-market. Let's switch to our extended hours and see. As you can see, SPY has already gapped down pre-market and still has some opportunity to come further down into a lower level somewhere around 637, even lower than 635. So we'll see how SPY plays out once the market opens. It's already gapped down from here. So we'll have to look at see one key thing again is you can measure pre-high and low. Obviously, if you look at it from the daily chart, we are already below our previous day high on low on SPY, and we're approaching demand here. This was demand from, let's take a look, August 20th. Now, this candle here, this bullish candle was created from Fed Powell's speech, and that was from Jackson Hole. So, the market had a really good reaction to what came from Fed Powell that particular day, bounced up and created a new high before this pullback. So now we're entering into this order block here. And what we'll be watching for is potentially a pullback and wick in this order block, maybe as low as 632 for SPY, 632.97, and could come down to about 630.91. And I've been having this particular order block before this one popped up in my watch because I just was wondering, like when we were having this initial pullback, would we come down and try to grab some liquidity this low? Right now, we'll just have to see how it all plays out. I'll set some alerts and SPY. Ultimately, what I'm watching is to see what it does as it reaches this order block here because there is demand in this area for SPY. Some of it, the hype again, was from this aggressive move post as Fed Powell was speaking on Friday. And so the market reacted pretty well to that. And again, on the 28th, we stamped in a new high before the pullback on Friday. So we will keep SPY on our watch list. We'll look to see if there's a potential bounce here or if bears are showing up today in the market. It is the beginning of September. Historically, as many of the pros have already expressed, there is a historical pattern of market pullback, and we are down in the market in the month of September. So we'll see if that will be the case for 2025. If not, if it is, then you have an opportunity to look and see, well, hey, what didn't I get in from the April pullback or any other pullback where I missed an opportunity to buy in? And this is your opportunity to start to look at things as they're cooling off and what's on sale. Now, when we see the market pulling back, I do like to pull out. So when I seen SPY and QQQ having a red day on Friday, I did want to see how the week closed. So if you're not familiar, I do like to use screeners, but in addition to screening here, I also use my heat map. So I go to heat map stocks, and there's a few things you can do once you get to your heat map. So one thing you can do is look at pre-market change, and as you can see, there's a lot of red here pre-market. Eli Lilly, I was looking at, was also down. Nvidia's down. AVGO is down a good 1.5%. So this is all the action that's happening pre-market. I was chatting with someone on Palantir. Palantir's down 2.29%. So why is this? Put this out quick. Okay. But here's the sector I was looking at. And so energy minerals has been having a pretty solid move. Let's look at them from the weekly perspective because that's what I was looking at. And so we see green here, right? We see kind of close green. We had Apple up 2.64%. Actually, AVGO was up 1.93%. So when you flip to how the week went last week, you can see from the S&P what was trending. But here's what had my attention. Energy minerals was one sector that had my attention. And so when you expand this out, you can see that ZOM had a 4% day, CVX had a 3% day. And I was also looking at FANG, which had a 7% day. So when you see these stocks trending in this particular sector, then I wanted to kind of go in and see like, well, what's the hype? FANG, FANG, take this off. I kind of already was in here looking to see what could possibly play out. Now, one thing I like about FANG is the opportunity to gap up from here. So we're looking at it from the daily perspective. Now, I'm gonna hide, I'm gonna hide a few things. So as you guys know, I do trade off the wolf chart. And what I want to show is the new cloud feature that we're using, right? So if I only had the cloud on, this cloud is called my wolf trend moving average cloud. So I'm looking at what happens every time price is out of this cloud, right? And look at the opportunity that we possibly have playing out on FANG while it's out of the cloud is pretty bullish, right? If they break this high, I marked it at the 150. I guess I can put 150.12 here. That's what we're going to watch on FANG, 150.12. If they can break 150.12, they're going to come in and they're going to challenge the most recent highs that we have here. So somewhere around 152 and 153. So I'm going to keep them on watch. There's a really nice opportunity. So ideally, we need to first challenge this high and then potentially we can look to travel further. But we're going to keep FANG on our watch list. There is a nice gap up opportunity if you look here where we have sellers positioned. So this could be a nice, steady, progressive move up. But we have to keep in mind looking to the left where they've seen challenges. One was this zone, this area right here. To this area right here. They'll have to be very strong as they hit these targets to be able to make that move further up. So keep FANG on watch. Here was their earnings. They did have good revenue at 9.86%, but they did miss on their actual earnings. I still see the potential for them to at least come and challenge some of these highs. And then as they're sweeping liquidity up higher, there's still a move to get to the 160s. So I like this setup. If we're seeing money rotating over through to this sector, FANG could definitely be one that you have on your watch list. CVX was another. I think they still have some opportunities, if I remember correctly, to continue to move further up. So looking at I'm sorry, CVX, their opportunity is to continue. They're already pre-market above Friday's high. And there is a chance to still make that move up to somewhere around 166.94. And then maybe even as high as maybe 169, 170. The thing here is just to, again, monitor your trade, see what they do once they get to about 163, 162.60, 163, maybe even somewhere in this area of 164. But the target is ideally this order block. Now I'm looking at it from the daily perspective. What you want to do is go through a full top-down analysis of this chart. I'm just giving you some opportunities that you can find if you're looking for where some of money may be flowing. CVX, again, from the same sector. And ZOM, I think I covered ZOM on the last video, ZOM, ExxonMobil. Another opportunity that we may still have on ZOM. Let's see, take some of this off. Right. So ZOM has been pretty strong. Look how strong they are if we just look at it from being out of this particular cloud right here. So what I'm looking for Zom to do is to continue to progressively move up to 115s, 116, 117, and maybe even try to sweep up to 120. The key here is going to be that they hold above that 114, 114.66. I guess we can look at it from 114.79, which was the previous day high, Friday side, 114.79. I'll set an alert here. And again, ZOM may be another good opportunity to trade if they can hold above that price. So we'll put an alert on ZOM at 114.79. I like to trade ZOM in the money. Um, and it typically can give nice profitable returns. So you can add ZOM to your watch list as well. So I'm not gonna cover too much more in this sector. You can take a look at it for yourself, but as you can see, this there is opportunities in the market. So as money is rotating, you kind of just want to use your screeners, even if it's just a heat map, and start to see where money is flowing. So for the week, I definitely had my attention on analyzing some charts from the energy minerals sector. Now again, we can look at pre-market and see that we have a much different story of how we're opening up the week for electronic technology services. So we'll watch for that. Lilly again had pulled back to what my downside target was, which was 122. So we can take a quick look at Eli Lilly. All right. I said 122, I feel like, but 722 was the move that I was watching for Eli Lilly. And they did come back. I think actually, if we look at it pre-market, how low did we go pre-market? Yeah, pre-market for Lilly so far. So it looks like we came right at about 719, somewhere around there, and we're holding support around 719, 718. So I would say keep Eli Lilly on watch. They did gap down. They have some struggles, like even though they had a successful some good news about a trial they're doing on one of their drugs. They also are having issues with some of the news with tariffs and price spiking in different countries. I think the UK. So you can keep them on watch. Just tread lightly with them. They're pretty easy to trade once you learn their pattern. And you're able to, they're expensive, and you also have to watch the Greeks here. So I personally don't like to trade them unless I see a very strong um, potential move up. If I see too many hurdles and obstacles, then I know that it's probably not one I'm going to touch. But I've been very successful trading it out of the money, as close to in money as possible. But it's on big moves. I don't really trade unless I see like a clean opportunity. Let's, for example, if I was looking at it from the 5 minute chart, if we cleared this order block here, then the gap up here may have my interest, right? But if I'm just in like this chop zone, I probably wouldn't do anything with Eli Lilly. But if we look at it from the daily perspective, they are having a pullback, and there's still more opportunities for them to pull back. We'll just have to see where support lands. Ultimately, um, right now they're holding that this zone somewhere around here, where 719 30. Well, let's look at it to be precise, 719.46. Maybe if we see 719.46 not holding as support, then we can switch to looking to see if they're going to come back down to 710, 711, somewhere around here. Again, that would require some aggressive sell-offs and pressure from the bears on Eli Lilly, but you can definitely keep them on watch as well and see where they find support or if they're going to gap down even more. The again gap up from this candle was, I believe, all from the news that we had received. But yeah, I like this one. When they have a nice, strong move, I typically like to have them on my watch list, especially if news comes out on them, up or down, it's going to pay very well. So yeah, let's look at a few more stocks. So Baba, which I talked about Baba. In Discord, the alert was on 128 hold on Baba. I just felt like, hey, post earnings, if they can hold 128, we have a really strong opportunity. Baba was able to hold 128, and this was the break actually, 127.93. So I called out 128 just as a rough number, but we were looking at this candle here and this area being a challenging area for Baba. So once they lost this, they've been trending down, and now we've broken out. There was an order block here. There was so much buyers present and trading on Baba that they were able to clear that order block. We're going to want to make sure they hold support, and we're going to want to make sure that they hold support above that 134.51 as still a area that they need to make sure is clear so they can make further moves up. As you can see, there's still a target somewhere around 142.47, and we can look at where this is where we initially start to pull back from. So if we can target 142.50 would be the number. That would be a nice trade on Baba to follow through post earnings. So Baba is still absolutely on my watch list. You can watch to see if they break the high of Friday. And if they do break the high of Friday, then I think they have a strong chance to continue to gap up to this zone here. I'm not going to cover too much on Baba. Again, this is just something to add to your watch list. Go ahead and do some research on the charts and see if you see the same thing that I see. Another thing that I do like is as I'm studying and learning our new cloud, breaking out of the cloud is a very strong aggressive move because we're showing very strong momentum from this particular cloud here. Now, with us being, I just want to focus in on one cloud here. One. So as you can see, again, out of the cloud, either direction is going to give you a nice potential opportunity to gap up. Here's one that was very strong once Baba was able to break out of the cloud to the upside back in January, February. It went on a very long and steady climb up. If we look at Baba from the monthly, you see even clearly all of the potential moves that Baba can make because they've been somewhere in the past. So you want to see where a stock has been to kind of have an idea of where they're trying to go. So even if they cleared those 140 zones, trying to cap out about 148 would be a nice move for Baba. And then again, they can just progressively start to climb up. They've been out of the cloud here and on the from the monthly since the 2024 September. So they just kind of been bouncing around trying to break this next zone of resistance, which is historical history here. Like we have history here. We see that we've tested and broke and held this support for a while here. But then we see once we got to about 2021 on Baba, we lost that support and the they've been trading down. So we just need to keep Bob on watch because are they ready to start their move back up? There has been stories of them in the news on what they're doing around AI and stuff like that. So I would keep Baba again on watch. As you can see, Alibaba shares jumped nearly 19% in Hong Kong on September 1st, fueled by a 26% rise in cloud sales and strong AI product revenue, boosting trading volume. So there's still a lot of attention, and it's good attention on Baba. So why not keep it on watch if we're starting to see our own tech sector in the US pulling back? So again, Bob on watch, you can map that one out. QQQ, let's take a quick look at QQQ. And this is doing exactly what I wanted to see happen is it's pulling back. QQQ is pulling back. There's a nice target downside to this particular zone here. As you can see, when we touched it here on the 20th, we got a nice wick, and then they started to make the move similar to what we saw on buy is the move from when Fed Powell had the speech from Jackson Hole. Well, now we're losing all that support. I have put an anchor VWAP from that candle here. Clear this up for a second so you can see. All right, so I put an anchor VWAP from that particular candle, and we've already lost that. We're also trending pretty low here. I don't see why QQQ can't come down to 563.27, and if they don't hold support there, continue to gap down as low as 560s. And then my very bearish target is this zone here that I'll be watching on QQQ. There's still an opportunity. Now, when we open, you may not want to jump right into puts if that's not, because we're already down quite a bit pre-market. So if we go to the 5-minute chart on QQQ, how you want to probably trade this one, which I think is a really good strategy that we were taught, is to look and measure the high and low of pre-market. It's going to be a pretty significant range, right? From 570 to, if they're holding support right now here, if that is your pre-market range, then you have to understand that the next move we want them to make is to break that in our opening session. If they're not breaking, if they're holding support at the low of pre-market, somewhere around here, well, wherever it lands, because they're still going down, but wherever it lands as the lower pre-market, they may open up and then try to gap up a bit, then reject once they have hit some resistance, and then make a further more aggressive move down. So you don't want to jump into charts right away without the proper confirmation. So one thing that you can add to your charts, I even did it with Bob on Fridays, pre-market high and low. Set your alerts to see if they break it. If it's a strong break above pre-market high or low, then you see now that you have some confirmation that we have further downside. So QQQ from the 5-minute chart has good support around 560s and some support around 563 that they're about to hit. So you can keep QQQ on watch as well. Now, let me see if there is any others. I really wanted to make sure I bring the energy minerals sector to your attention. I didn't take a really big deep dive over the weekend yet on retail, but I do plan on doing that during the week, as well as manufacturing sector. Another one I wanted to watch because I actually seen money flowing into this one was UNH. Now, UNH does have heavy resistance when you look at it from the daily chart. You can see this very dark red order block. So if you're using the wolf chart, you know that that just means there's even more selling pressure here for this particular ticker. So what we could probably watch for is to see if they're going to try to keep pushing and squeezing through this order block here. It's worth watching because they are out of their cloud, but again, we're in a very lengthy consolidation since the 14th. So we've been just bouncing around in this range, but I'll keep them on watch to see if they can break through. If they can break through and start to see, hold above this resistance line somewhere around, well, based off of this candle, 326.55. Let's look to see if they can come somewhere around here, 368 as their challenge. Not really interested in playing around with UNH in this zone, but if we see strength and they maybe can give us a good pullback and then come back up to clear this zone, then there's a nice opportunity because there's still a gap. So if we just take everything off of our chart for a second, you'll see the gap here. Okay, so I think there's still an opportunity once they clear that resistance that I did show you to come and close the gap here. So as you can see, that's a pretty profitable trade if that's to play out soon. So that's going to be just kind of basing it from where we have this candle and where they are right here. So if, again, we can break resistance and start to make that climb back up to close this gap, eventually that'll lead us somewhere around 376.84. Not saying that happens in a day, 2 days, a week. That's something you'll want to have time on. But if you haven't started building your positions on UNH, maybe this may be where you want to see if we can get, again, a pullback, maybe even to fill the gap down, bounce from this earnings anchored VWAP, and then start to tread back up to target closing the gap to the upside. This could take years to play out. I don't know. I'm not saying when it's going to happen. I'm just saying there's gaps. There's a gap here that we also see again to the downside that we could target. So There's gaps in their chart, and we just have to wonder when they're going to fill that. Here's an example of when we had a gap right here to right here, and immediately we fill that gap. And they consolidate here before dropping again. So that's how you can watch a gap fill play. Once we create this gap here, eventually price will come. It's a matter of when that happens, and we just really don't have a time or date and can predict the future on that. So that's the chart on UNH. Again, there's gaps in this chart that can fill upside or downside that you can keep watch on. I'm going to stop the video here. I do plan on putting another video out, possibly even after hours today, if not tomorrow, on where we are in the market after giving it a day or so from the holiday. Again, pre-market, we're seeing a lot of stocks that are down and red, but then you want to keep your eyes in the sector that I highlighted for you, and then look to see what other sectors may be having action. Oh, I almost forgot the one chart I really wanted to cover. Actually, two, and we're going to cover it. So I I saw the move on gold, and this is how powerful this new cloud is. I'm really excited about it. Um, I'm just going to highlight the cloud for a second. And I'm going to go to the daily chart. And I was watching to see if gold could make it here. I actually was wondering, like, the way they were so aggressive on Friday, if we were going to close somewhere in the 320. So we've reached this target that I had because the cloud here is acting as pretty strong support and resistance until you're breaking out of it. And as you can see, when the stock is breaking up or down out of it, we have some pretty strong moves and continue and confirmations to continue, whether it's upside or downside. In this case, we've hit where we want to hit, which is the 320s. And I want to see like if we open, if we'll get like a pullback and another test of the zone. Ultimately, we broke a key resistance that we have here around 317. And if you were trading gold, you had a really good day. We had a really good day on gold. And I like that. And what I saw was that money was flowing into gold as QQQ and SPY was going down. So that means that it's becoming a safety net. And that makes me wonder if we truly are going to get that September pullback. So you can keep gold and watch. They were up on Friday, $3, $3.04. So nice percent here, almost 1% up on the day on Friday. And they've continued, they've already made the move I wanted to see happen. I did not hold any positions over the weekend and holiday. SLV is another that you can also watch because they have even more opportunities here. Let's just zoom out on SLV because that's what I did. They have just broken, actually pre-market, a key resistance that I have on my chart. So they're going to want to hold support at 36.44. If you see SLV holding support at 36.44, I like it. And they still have some pretty clean opportunities on their chart to make additional moves to the upside and start to hit the 40s. So still a lot of clean space here that you can watch on SLV. And also, if you're familiar with the wolf chart, we already had a level 3 confirmation from this candle here, and then this one gave us a very strong continuation, and now we're going again. We have an aggressive move on my tracker here, and so this would be one that you can look to see about grabbing shares and riding it up to the 40s. This is one that you may want to just go in the money on some option contracts and then swing it out. Give it time to play out, but it does look like a really good chart. And again, as money is flowing into gold, there's also money flowing into silver as well. So I am going to stop the video here. I've given you a few things that you can add to your watch list as you continue through the week. It's a shorter week because of Monday's holiday. I do hope everyone has a successful week. And again, I'll try to post another video, maybe a midweek check-in. And I hope everyone has a blessed day. Thanks and bye.